Hello and welcome to Synder tutorials. In this video, you'll learn how to sync daily summaries from your sales channels into Xero with Synder. I will show it on the example of Shopify, Stripe, and Xero, but the flow will be nearly the same for all other sales channels, so stay tuned. First, once you sign up with Synder, select how it can help you. If you just need to sync the data to your books, select Synder Sync. If you also need a live reporting software inside of Synder, select Business Insights and check out our other videos to see how this tool works. Next, just fill in all the required fields. If you're an accountant, you might think of it as of setting up a client. You'll be able to connect more clients later. If you're not an accountant or bookkeeper, but you have one, it's definitely a good idea to invite them right away. Once done, click Next, and now we are to select your sales channels. See the list available here as well. We recommend connecting literally each platform, especially if you have an e-commerce store like Shopify with several payment gateways like Stripe. And no worries, there will be no duplicates and the information will be taken from all connected sources. I'll go with Shopify and Stripe today, but the flow will be the same for all other platforms. Speaking of accounting platforms supported at the moment, you can connect QuickBooks, online or desktop, Xero, or inbuilt Synder accounting module. I'll go with Xero today, however, daily summaries are also available for QuickBooks Online and will be gradually enabled for other accounting platforms too. So double check if it's already available for your accounting platform. Now let's select the sync mode. Per transaction sync mode is good if you want to sync every single transaction to your books individually. If you track product costs, taxes per state or country, customer invoices, customers, and inventory quantities. Daily summary sync mode is perfect if you have hundreds or thousands of transactions and you don't want to overload your Xero with individual transactions. So you just want one summarized invoice payment posted daily from each sales channel. Also, here you can track cost of goods sold, taxes totals, accounts receivable totals, income by product and SKU, and you will be able to simplify the reconciliation. Note that if you need to track individual customers, individual products and their inventory, as well as individual invoices on the accounts receivable account in Xero, it's better to proceed with the per transaction sync mode, as it's very detailed and you'll be able to control each and every small thing in the transaction. In case you don't need a lot of individual transaction details and you don't want to overload your Xero account, proceed with the daily summaries mode. It will be able to track income by product, calculate cost of goods sold, taxes, and many more. We'll go with daily summaries sync mode today. At this step, let's connect your accounting platform. Synder will work with its data in a super secure mode, so no worries. Just make sure you're an admin of the accounting platform and hit connect. Then hit allow access and confirm. And now it's time to connect our sales channels one by one. If you're an admin, just follow Synder instructions. In case with Shopify, we need to copy the Shopify store name like this, paste it into Synder, and hit connect. Make sure you don't paste anything that goes before or after the Shopify store name. We'll do the same with Stripe. If you're not an admin, invite the owner through this option and let them securely enter the credentials on their end. Then you'll be able to proceed. Since I'm the admin, I hit connect. Synder will redirect us to the Stripe page where we can log into the existing account, and if you're already logged in, just hit connect and that is it. And the next step would be just hitting finish connection and you're ready to go. Now Synder is importing several days of your data from all connected sales channels into your Synder account. As we have the data imported, we'll see it in the summary step. Synder will gather all transactions from each platform daily and combine them into an invoice and the payment for the day. So with Stripe and Shopify, I'll have around 62 invoice payments monthly in total. Now an important point. Pricing in Synder is based on the number of orders or sales a business has per month, combined from all platforms. So the pricing works the same for both daily summaries and per transaction sync mode. As for Synder, it's still the same amount of job, just the result in Xero is different. Now we can see some summaries here, and we also see two columns with the statuses: transaction status and sync status. Transaction status reflects the readiness of all the transactions for the day to be synced to your books as the daily summary. For example, fully fetched means that all transactions from this day are ready to be synced. You can also see fetching status, which means the transactions are still importing from the connected integration. So shortly they will be available for the synchronization. Sync status reflects the state of the synchronization of the summary to your books. For example, synced means that the summarized invoice and payment was posted to your books. Ready to sync means that you can sync it to your books now. You can also see some fetching and pending summaries as well, which means that Synder just waits till the end of the day to grab all the transactions that can potentially happen, and as soon as the day is over, you'll be able to sync them to Xero. I have some fully fetched and ready to be synced summaries, so we'll sync it together a bit later as soon as we're done with the setup. Accordingly, there are different auto-sync options in Synder. Either you can enable everyday auto-sync when any transaction is available for the day, or you can go with fully fetched auto-sync when all transactions are available for the day. Fully fetched auto-sync is the recommended option, as you'll be able to make sure that summary contains all of the transactions. You can also go with the everyday auto-sync as well. Just make sure that the transactions that won't be synced in the summary will be entered, for example, manually. Now let's see how the mapping works. At this step, we just tell Synder what parts of transactions should hit certain accounts in Xero, and it can be easily adjusted to your needs. There are different setup options. You can do a very basic mapping, you can also do it by products, regions, and tracking categories. We'll go with all available options today so you can see which mapping suits you better. Mapping by product. Firstly, you can map your revenue differently, either by sales channel or by individual products. Mapping by sales channel is available when this group by product toggle is disabled. It means that all income from Stripe in this case will hit this one income account in Xero. You can also change it if needed. Mapping by product is available when this toggle is enabled. Synder then pulls up the product list from your sales channel and you can map the product separately. So even though it's a daily summary that will be synced, you'll be able to see this revenue split into different income accounts based on products. Additionally, in case you need to track cost of goods sold for your products, you can also do it with Synder. This feature is enabled from My Account tab on the left, and feel free to check out our other videos to see how it works. Furthermore, you can also see the quantity of the items sold in the summarized invoice. I'll also show it a bit later along with the sync results. Mapping by region. This toggle is helpful in case you need to track taxes or sales by states or countries. When this toggle is disabled, you'll be able to map all tax amounts to just one tax account. Once it's enabled, Synder will give you the region column so you can map different taxes accordingly, and you can do the same for other lines too. Mapping by tracking categories. Synder also supports tracking categories, so if you want to categorize your transactions even more, enable this feature and make sure you've set up tracking categories in Xero. With their help, you'll be able to assign a certain Xero tracking category to the lines of the summary. In my case, tracking categories are used to differentiate between Stripe and Shopify, so you can do a similar mapping if you need to see sales by channel. Lastly, Synder will give us the suggested mapping so we can go with it right away. Just select the accounts needed. Once done, save mapping, and Synder will be able to create new accounts for you if they are missing in your books. Now let's sync summaries to Xero. For that, select the summaries and click Sync. In order to check the results, just click See in Books to see the whole summarized transaction. As you see, different lines show up here, and the amounts are going to the accounts you mapped previously. Furthermore, you can also see the quantity of the items sold in the summarized invoice if you've done the mapping by product, as I showed before. The invoice also will be closed with the payment, like that. We can also sync credit notes. It happens in case you've had more negative transactions, say refunds, than sales for the day. So the summary itself technically has the negative amount. And here can also be an invoice and two payments. One of those two payments is technically an overpayment. Here's why it happens. Overpayments are recorded in case you send the invoice to the client, let's say 2 days ago, and the payment is received with a delay, let's say today. The first summary will have an underpayment, and the summary in 2 days will have an overpayment, like in my case. Then you are to apply the overpayment to underpaid invoice in Xero manually like this. Open the Business tab. Invoices. Here you can see those two transactions. The first one is the overpayment that I just showed, and the second one is the invoice with outstanding amount. And you see that the amount is the same, $200 in both cases. There are several ways to match them. Here's one of them. Open the invoice, scroll down the page, and click Credit this invoice. Xero automatically pre-matches the overpayment with underpayment, this invoice. So you just need to enter the amount to confirm it, $200 in my case, and click Allocate Credit. As a result, there will be no outstanding balances, like that. And here is also how it looks in the profit and loss report. Different accounts show up here on the left, and we also have the tracking categories breakdown at the top. If needed, you can undo the summary by deleting it from Xero manually. Firstly, you can check the transactions we created by opening the summary and clicking See in Books. And then you can delete them. Firstly, you delete the payment, and then you void the invoice. If needed, you can change mapping, refresh the summary, and sync it back to Xero with the new mapping. Now let's go ahead and import some old transactions by clicking this Import Historical Data button. On a trial, you can only import 10 summaries, so the transactions for the 10 days. Going forward, you'll be able to import months or years of data depending on the subscription level. Just select the platforms, set the time range, and click Sync Now to sync summaries right away to your books. You can also go with the Import for Review option to import summaries into Synder first, and then sync them to your books in bulk. Synder also helps you with the reconciliation, recording sales, fees, and other transaction details to the clearing account, which represents the platform in Xero. Firstly, in order to reconcile, you need to mark all the transactions in the clearing account as reconciled. In order to do that, just open the clearing account, click on this question icon in the upper right, and make sure that this toggle to mark the transactions as reconciled is enabled. Then select all transactions and click Mark as reconciled. And in order to proceed with the reconciliation, you'll have to record a transfer from this clearing account to the checking. Same way as in real life, the platform pays out the money to the bank. Here's how to do that. Open the Rules tab in Xero, Transfer Money Rules, and click Create a New Rule. Set the rule so that every time a real payout comes from Stripe or any other channel to the bank, Xero makes the same transfer from the clearing account to the checking one. I'll use the description and Stripe as the keyword. You can also use it as the payee. Then you select the clearing account itself from which the transfers should happen, and then save the rule, and I'll create one more rule for Shopify transfers this time. And once we're done with the rules, every time the new payout hits the bank, here's what you'll see in the bank feed. Xero will automatically find the matches for you in the bank feed, and you'll just need to confirm them like that, and you'll be ready to go. And once you make sure you're good with the sync, you can finish the configuration by subscribing to any of the suitable plans and automating the sync. Now you know how daily summaries work in Synder. You can also find plenty of useful guides and video tutorials in our knowledge base, and for any additional help, just apply to us via chat, phone, or email, as we're available almost 24/7. Have a good journey with Synder!